Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. And why do I have the dun 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 Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum up on the screen? Why ever would I? Well, I was contacted by Micah Hovermale, who also posted on N World that the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum is using an essay of his uh, over a year after he wrote it without his explicit permission. Um, and he's not too happy about it. So, Dreams of a Homebrewer. This is published, today's now the 11th. This was put up at uh, late night, August 9th, 10:11, Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum on Facebook. When my children were young, they came to me and asked if I could make them some homebrew of their favorite shows and books. I had observed enough about these four-legged friendship animals and tiny monsters that lived in their pockets to know that it was suitable for my kids to consume that media, but I didn't know much more. I had observed the characters' behaviors and paid attention to the messages in the stories, but beyond that, I couldn't tell you anything more. In my home, a few names are revered because they help bring some of the media my family cherishes to the world. Disney, Henson, Tolkien, Beagle, Lee, Lucas, Roddenberry, and more. Launching from a lifetime of loving the media, they produce so much that we raised our children on it. The kids had discovered even more strange new worlds and wanted my help bringing them to life on game night. That's pretty cool, actually, if you ask me. I came from a pre internet world, and tabletop role playing had been the light at the end of the tunnel in many of my days, so I was already quite experienced at creating homebrew. However, when I made it in the past with my friends, it was out of materials we already knew. It came from the worlds of names I mentioned above, and also the Odyssey and the Iliad, up through the Arthurian legends, and branching out into pulp fictions and those thin, shiny books I now keep in plastic. So I had warehouses of knowledge, but I couldn't tell you a thing about the worlds my kids were asking me to create for them. Other than that, I like them. By the way, I'm going to make a side comment here. This is better written than anybody associated with the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum could write. Seriously. Maybe they could do some effective editing, but they can't write like this. Nobody associated with the museum can write like this, which is why there's a lot of conversation going on as to who the hell wrote this, because nobody could figure out who it was. Now we know. It's Michael Hovermale. So I began researching, made a list of each character, dove into their backstories, and began extracting all the information I could about those characters' lives, worlds, and cultures. What were their powers? Could they shoot lightning from their cheeks or fly so fast they made a sonic rain boom? The further I dove in, the more I discovered the wonders of these universes. And when we finally gained, I was about a quarter to half right. My children and their friends were the best playtesters. It was a unique and hilarious time with them while we explained my mistakes and we wrote and created, edited, collaborated, weaving fantastic homebrew that we played over and over again. It even caught on with their schools' gaming clubs. We had created homebrew Dungeons and Dragons type games that did not have any combat, and they worked. When I define battle, I mean the traditional defeating evil foes. These little monsters weren't fighting, it was just rough and tumble play, and they went back to adventuring together as friends when it was over. We traveled the world from our tables, sliding down sand dunes and exploring caves, looking for lamps to rub. We went under the ocean and found a fantastic undersea community. We traveled to the outback and made new friends with pockets for their kids. We went to the east to meet powerful ancient dragons, visit incredible temples, and sneak around with ninjas in the best game of hiding and seek. My children had awakened in me the sleeping dragon that dreamt of being a game designer. What if I could reach out to the companies that own the rights to these beautiful worlds and characters and show them what we had created? What if they loved it? What if they hired me as a designer and writer and my career dreams could be fulfilled? By the way, as an aside, if you want to know why Michael Hovermale got involved with TSR, he's explaining it right here, right now. Okay? It's a dream many of us had as a kid. That's his dreams. Don't fault the man for having dreams. What if I could join those people whose work I had cherished so much that my partner and I raised our children on it? There's another name on the list of those that inspire me I haven't told you about yet. This name has been in my heart since I started playing tabletop role-playing games in 1986. This man had done everything I so desperately wished I could do. He gathered together a team that helped him create fantasy worlds that were so needed and so precious. The name is Gygax. Legacy Dungeons and Dragons products such as Al Qadim and Oriental Adventures are not hate. They are homebrew. Sincerely, Anonymous Joe. Well, Anonymous Joe, I wrote this, is Michael Hovermale. And now how do I know that too? Well, because Michael sent me an email showing that he wrote this. So, why, if Michael is a traitor, as some people are very fond of saying, why would you use Michael's essay to push your own IP, your own museum? Why would you do that? I don't get that. If he is someone who has done so much wrong, why would you use his fucking essay, but of course scratch his name off the bottom? Because what, the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum can't produce anything? Can't even be open for normal business hours half the time. That's what I'm hearing. I haven't been there, but from people I've heard from, it's like, yeah, they have hours posted, but they don't seem to be legit. Why is that? So, I thought that was interesting. I thought that was an interesting bit of news, but wait, there's more. We have Michael's comments on this. Michael K. Hovermale. I wrote this. I sent it to Justin LaNasa, Ernie Gygax, and Stephen Deinhardt IV on 7/5/2021. I've now forwarded that original email and attached it to members of the YouTube press that are covering new TSR for verification. I'm not surprised that Justin is still using my work, even after libeling my son Logan and I. I wrote this mostly for Ernie when we were trying to get a handle on a lot of hate coming our way about his father. I never met Gary Gygax, and I have no idea what his beliefs were. Based on what I'm told by those who knew Gary, he was not the hateful things some people claim he was, based on forum posts, old articles, etc. I'm not defending Gary or anything he wrote. What I'm saying is, based on what I've been told by the people that knew him, he is not any of those things. But Gary must make mistakes. Yes, he is human. And last time I checked, we all make mistakes. He did the best he could with the information at hand. I don't read any hate in his gaming materials. Inaccuracies, sure, but not hate. When I create adventures set in any culture, even the one I grew up in, I do research to try and get things right. My goal is always to try to show off the awesome things within them. I believe this was the intent of settings like Oriental Adventures, etc., to bring to light things that are cool, fun, and give players options to play them. This is a very deep personal story for me because it touches on my dreams of being a creator. Not just creating games, but also books, films, media, and entertainment to enrich and inspire people and bring joy to their lives, help children learn important lessons, and help people connect through a mutual love. when Jim Henson sang, "Life's like a movie, write your own ending. Keep believing, keep pretending." That became my mantra. It's what I have always wanted, making the rainbow connection with the lovers, the dreamers, and me. That's what I always thought about getting involved in making media was all about. People coming together to make magic. If Justin LaNasa, New TSR, the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum, or anyone affiliated with them uses my work, letters, writings, etc., I will post about it. That's well he should. I am not affiliated, nor do I support New TSR or the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum in any way. This is because they are owned by Justin LaNasa. If the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum came under new ownership, I'd love it. You have a lot of gall to post this. This is, again, as a reminder, Michael K. Hovermale. After all the libeling, threats of flying out to my house, etc., unbelievable. Why don't you have Dave Johnson write you something? Or how about you write something yourself? So, I thought that was newsworthy. I figured, as our our YouTube news source for the OSR, I would cover such. Michael, thank you for being so open, so honest. I appreciate it. I'm sure others do. Folks, we're in the midst of the world of the endemic. Please use your common sense. Be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. I will be back again, maybe later on today, maybe tomorrow with the random generator party, 8 p.m. Eastern, Friday. I hope to see you there. Thank you much.